Well, it may be a bit chilly outside, but things are certainly warming up here at Southwestern Vehicle Auctions as they get ready for their January sale, which takes place on Thursday, the 30th of January. Viewing takes place from Saturday, the 25th of January, right through to the Wednesday. And bidding can happen in person, on the phone, or online. And safe to say, as ever, the variety is spectacular. So let's go and take a look at some of the highlights. So why don't we start, as ever, in the corner of the hall here. We've got a fantastic array of British classics. You can't get more traditional and more classic than a 1973 MG B Roadster. Loads of paperwork with this and a guide price of 2 to 3, phenomenal value. Mini Club and Estate here, 2 to 3 grand guide price as well. If you really love your minis, there's a traditional one here, Mini 1000 City here, guide price of 4 to 5. Loads of stickers on the side there, just that's been owned by a real enthusiast. Got a real soft spot for these. This is a Rover 214S, near sort of the beginning of the sort of production line. A good spec one, selling for no reserve. So if you really want a kind of sensible daily driver classic, the one that you don't have to be too precious about, that could be well worth a look. But right next door to it, juxtaposed, is this lovely Morris 8 Tourer. Again, a guide price of 4 to 5. Decent paperwork, the condition is really lovely. One of only 40 left registered according to the club that supports these, and it was restored about 20 years ago, so that could be a real bargain, a lovely pre-war classic for you. So how about this, a lovely Rover 825 Sterling, fairly late example, really low mileage, 35,000 and warranted. It was a ministerial car apparently for its early life, and then went on to do some funereal duties for an undertaker, so no comments about wanting to see being seen dead in it, but guide price of £1,000 to £1,500. Someone's going to get a real bargain there. One of its contemporaries-ish, Jaguar S-Type here. This is a really early one with a sort of plasticky dash that the early cars had, and it wasn't necessarily the best praised at the time, but actually I think they've aged quite well. This is a V6 example, warranted mileage of 94,000. Again, selling for no reserve, so it could be a bit of a steal, that one, I reckon. BMW Z3s. They always get overlooked, don't they? Mazda MX-5 and Honda S2000s. This is a 2-litre 6-cylinder model, so quite a rare spec one. It's had a bit of tinkering in the recent past, but again, it's selling for no reserve. It's a bit leggy on the mileage, 145,000, but those engines definitely take it. And if you want a bargain modern classic roadster, then this definitely deserves a look. But on the subject of BMWs, not quite tall enough to reach over here, look at this fabulous E34 Touring. I really love a classic wagon, and this is immaculate. One owner from new, loads of paperwork. It's got a warranted 54,000 miles, and it's a 3-litre V8, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. I've always loved the E34. In a touring spec, it's even better. That interior, leather-lined, it's absolutely immaculate. Probably the modern classic of the sale, I'd say. Okay, someone's really got to save me from myself here. This Volkswagen Jetta GTI, the 16-valve model. You may recognise it. It's a Classics World project car. It used to belong to the editor of Car Mechanics, Martin Knowles, and you'll see some videos on the channel where we introduce this car, and we even speak to Martin, who gives us a little bit of a potted history of it. It was off the road for 15 or so years, so it definitely needs a bit of love to bring it back on the road. During its project time, we put loads of new parts on it, but we're still not quite sure it's running right, and the bodywork needs a bit of TLC. But given the value of Golf GTI 16 valves, this has got to be worth saving. We're selling it for no reserve, so yeah, someone's willing to take the project on, do so. The interior is immaculate, by the way. How about a modern British classic in the form of the MG TF? This looks fantastic in trophy blue, I think. The TF always got a bit of a bad rap because it doesn't quite have the same soft suspension as the Hydrogas MGFs, but I actually think these drive really nicely. It's got 79,000 warranted miles, and it's had the cam belt and water pump done at 77,000 miles, and a guide price of 1,000 to 1,500. Again, what a fantastic buy for a bit of modern British sports car action. There's plenty more this way. Well, we love a classic Ford, and how about this for a rarity? A Ford Zodiac Farnham estate. Never heard of a Farnham estate either. Put in the comments if you know a bit more than I do. But an estimate of 8.8 to 9.8 on the guide price. A lot of work being done on the engine, 2.6 engine in there. And the interior was retrimmed not so long ago. So there's a little bit of crazing on the paintwork, but all well worth saving. And again, just so rare, aren't they? So yeah, an absolutely lovely car, that. Another rarity, there's plenty of Jaguar XJ-S's out in the world, but a pre-HE one, like this one, absolutely amazing. 1977, and the current owner has had it since 1979. It's got low mileage on the odometer, but it isn't actually supported by a wealth of paperwork. But given the overall originality of this car, this is definitely one to preserve, I think. So do keep an eye on that one at the sale. And another British classic here, this Triumph TR4 with the Surrey top. Guide price of 17.5 to 19.5. It is absolutely resplendent. Do love a Triumph TR4. The interior is immaculate, that lovely wood dash and the wooden 3-spoke steering wheel there. So yeah, this is definitely a traditional British classic. The Triumph TR4, very much revered, and this one is a very, very fine example. Okay, we're going to take a little stroll down here because there's another fine selection, starting with this Mondeo ST24. There's supposedly only be about 142 of these registered on the road. 2.5 litre V6, guide price of £1,000 to £1,500. We know the way fast forward prices go, so I'd get that now while it was cheap. Look at this lovely R230 SL, good spec one that as well. This will go down a storm, FNAF. A VR6 Corrado, always one of my favourites. 8 to 9 grand guide price. That's a sign of the things to come here. A lovely old Morris 10 Ford Tourer here. A last of the line Ford Sierra. Fantastic. Really must shout out to this old English white Jaguar Mark II. This is a 3.8 manual overdrive. That's a really nice spec one there. Guide price of 12 to 14. That could be well worth someone's attention. There's a Sunbeam Rapier 3A. There's another one over there which we'll take a look at. A Porsche Boxster. That's going to catch someone's eye again. Really cheap motoring there. We had one of these on fleet not so long ago, a Ford Focus ST170. Again, as a sort of warm hatch. Guide price of 500 to 750 quid. That's definitely got to be worth someone's attention. Again, Ford prices only typically go up, don't they? Austin A35, we've got an MG Midget here. Got a couple of X100 XKs. This one's riding on some rather sporty aftermarket wheels by the looks of it. We've got an Austin Healey Frog Eye. Really wanted to stop at this though, a really rare Citroen CX GTI. So the 2.5 litre turbocharged engine. Super, super rare now. Needs a bit of attention. It's been owned by the same person for a while now, and it's got loads of paperwork with it. The interior's looking a little bit tired, but do you know what? Given its rarity and its desirability, I would definitely sort of snap that up. We've already looked at an B Roadster over in the corner. This is a later rubber bumper model, and I really wanted to take a look at this. Really big fan of the Mark I Vauxhall Cavalier. Always a bit in the Cortina's shadows, wasn't it? And you can see a twin test when we compared it to a Mark III. 3 owners from new. This is a nice GL spec one. It's got 30-odd thousand miles, was it 39,000 on the odometer. There's not a lot of paperwork to support that, but again, if you want a really rare example, I'm really wanting to speak to some Vauxhall nerds to understand why the number plate is potentially in the wrong position at the back here. Well, we'll cut to that and people can tell me, because that looks like that should be from an Opel Ascona when it's in that position. But anyway, yeah, really rare, nice spec Vauxhall Cavalier Mark I. Definitely worth an attention. We're a really big fan of the Sunbeam Alpine. It's a sort of often overlooked roadster of this era, but this particular example is lovely. Guide price of 8 to 9. That interior is absolutely spotless. That's definitely well worth someone's sort of money. But we'll walk past all these bike things. I know Joe Miller would probably kill me for being so dismissive, but we've got this little final lineup here. Really wanted to show you the Sunbeam Rapier 3A here. This one's a really nice example. It was resprayed a few years ago, and it's just a lovely example. And I particularly like the two-tone roof treatment on this one. It's a lovely example. Guide price of 4.5 to 5.5 for a traditional British classic, real sort of peak roots era for me. Really lovely. How about a Triumph Stag Auto, 6 to 7 guide price? Again, I'm a big fan of the Stag, and they often get derided for that V8 engine, but I think overlook it at your peril. But how about this for a rarity? A Renault Caravelle. I didn't know too much about these, but it's an 1100cc 4-cylinder engine at the back, driving the rear wheels. It's got this sort of removable hardtop. Had loads of work done to it. I think it was bought in a SWVA sale about 5 or 6 years ago, and loads of work was done both before that sale and since then. So I think it's just generally been very well fettled, so well worth a look. And how about you want to live your boy racer best? A Vauxhall Nova GTE. Now, of course, we know what Ford XR2 prices are doing. We know what Peugeot 205 GTI prices are doing. This at a guide of 5.5 to 6.5 is well worth your attention. You might not approve of some of the styling choices that the previous owner has done with the coloured badge and the dust caps there, but each to their own. It's got loads of paperwork. MOT's back to about 2003, and I don't know, a hot hatch of this era, they're quite hard to come by, and certainly at that price. So safe to say the variety as ever at the Southwestern Vehicle Auctions is always second to none, and I've always enjoyed having a look around their lots. So the sale again Thursday the 30th of January, and you can come down and see the lots in person from Saturday the 25th, and you can bid online over the phone or come here in person. And don't forget, if you're not looking to buy, why not consider selling? Selling through somewhere like Southwestern Vehicle Auctions is a really hassle-free way of moving your classic onto another enthusiast for them to enjoy. But in the meantime, let us know in the comments which of these cars would get your money. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. It's got an 1100cc 4-cylinder air-cooled engine at the back there. That might not be true.